Hello once again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Horror News Radio, the official Gruesome Magazine podcast. Tonight, I am here to review Come Play. Now, Come Play is scheduled to hit theaters near you, maybe. No, they're out there. October 30th, 2020 from Focus Features. This is a film that is, let's get into the review, shall we? What is this film about? Come Play. Let's start there. Of course, it is directed by and written by Jacob Chase. It is based on a short he did called Larry, and I'll talk more about that later. The cast includes Azhy Robertson, Gillian Jacobs, John Gallagher Jr., and Winslow Fegley, among others. And the synopsis is a monster named Larry that manifests itself through smartphones and mobile devices. Feature film version of the 2017 short film. So Come Play. Now, this film, well, how do I want to go about this? I guess it follows the parents of an autistic elementary school student who, he has trouble speaking, so he speaks through phones and devices. And what he discovers is that on the device is a mysterious book that brings forward the tale of Larry, who is wanting a friend. Now, is it villainous? Is it helpful? It kind of threads that needle, if you will, along the way. Kind of gives us a little hint of both, which is part of this film's strength, as you kind of feel for not only our little hero, but we also kind of understand perhaps about the Larry character. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. This is a horror film by no stretch of the imagination. It is going for the scares. It is downplayed a little bit. It's an Amblin feature, or feels like an Amblin feature. It's kind of watered down horror, if you will, for those hardcore horror fans out there. But at the same time, it does have some effective spookiness. Now, the spookiness is more, or works better when we're with Oliver and his friends, when it's in the realm of the kids, having this imaginary monster, which is what it feels like through much of the film, come to life. Actually works. It actually works, and it's chilling, especially when you add in the conflict that Oliver has with his friend Brian, or his used to be friend, who is now a bully toward him at school, and ends up in this very awkward sleepover situation that his mom forces him into. And during the process, you know what happens. It's a horror movie, and it actually has some very effective scares during this part. Now, the more the parents are involved, the less scary this film becomes. It just doesn't play as well until the very end. Once we get to the ending, having the parent involved finally does pay off with the mother and her finally realizing the truth and facing the truth and what she needs to do. Making that decision to save her son or deal with Larry, defeat Larry. So it has that. John Gallagher is as an actor you'll recognize from other films. He plays the husband, the father, Marty to Gillian Jacobs, Sarah, and he's good in this when he's in the film with Oliver and they're together. When it's the family part, it doesn't work as well. They're going for something, they're going for this dysfunctional family, and it doesn't quite work. It works more as a distraction than, setting up the film. I don't even know if it was necessary to tell this story. You could have the conflict and not have the result of those conflicts and still have the same story. So I'm not sure where they were going with that other than to maybe pad the story out, and it feels that way. Because, like I said earlier, when it concentrates on Oliver and his friend Brian, who actually, when their story evolves more, that becomes really interesting, and far more interesting than the relationship between Oliver's mother and father, Sarah and Marty. The monster looks great. I will say Larry looks great. So good for that. It is shot really well. Jacob Chase certainly has an eye for this genre, and it will be very exciting to see where he goes from this. Is this film effective? It is in some respects. It isn't in others. So it's not. It's kind of all over the place. So it's not a solid film, or it's not an even film. It's very uneven. However, I gotta say I enjoyed it. So, we got some pics. So let's take a look at the pics, because there's Oliver and his mother, Sarah. And at this part with the picture, is when it really gets good with them. And we really get into the Larry part. And from this point on, it's solid. Thankfully, the ending of this movie makes the unevenness getting there worthwhile. But it's really the kids. It's the kids that really make this. And I would have liked to seen more with the kids and almost not have the parents involved at all. If it had focused more like this, it could have been scary on the level it wants to be. That not in the same intensity or R-ratedness. It definitely wants to be a PG-13 movie. John Gallagher, unfortunately, doesn't. He gives it more than the script gives him. So good on you, John Gallagher. I liked him in this, but the role wasn't. It gave him very little to chew on. When the creature's walking around the house, if you look closely in this picture, you might see a little bit of that. It actually is pretty chilling and effective. I would say the bedroom scene works far better than the scene that's being displayed here, but at the same time, it's all leading up to that. So, do I like this film? What is my score? This is what we do on H&R when we have more than just me yapping here. We end up things with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene, and I'm going to do that here. But of course, before I do, I always ask, if you're listening and you're enjoying this, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. So both of that helps other people find us and help our community grow. So we'd love for you to do that, especially if you're enjoying this. Come on. Also hit the bell for when we remind, and leave some comments. Did you go see this weekend? If you did, what'd you think? Is it what you expected? Did you want more from it? Did it satisfy the taste? Maybe it's a gateway horror film for kids? You just let me know. All right. So my final thoughts are kind of what I just kind of alluded to. I think this is a good film for a young teen to kind of get the feeling for horror if they haven't already. I know a lot of kids that are have already, especially in my family, that have already gotten the taste for horror at a young age. Man, Jaws did not affect them as much as it affected me at the age of 10. Let's put it that way. And they probably will enjoy this. The Oliver character, because he's autistic and he has issues with speech and the spectrum and things that go along with it, especially with being in close quarters, touching the and all the things that go along with that, works because it sets up this character as being the lonely character that needs a friend that allows the Larry character to come into the story. It feels very much once John Gallagher kind of steps out of the picture, which unfortunately it feels very much like the Babadook in a lot of ways, except for not quite as intense because the mother is a little bit more stable here. And it's also more from the kid's point of view than the mother's. But it has that same feeling. It has a book, it has a story. The book's digital instead of, the Babadook book, the physical Babadook book. And then, of course, the creature, is it there? Is it not there? Plays a little bit into it through the second act. The third act, of course, takes it in a totally different place than Babadook, and I'm thankful for that because I wouldn't want it to be a matchup for Babadook, and it does pay off for me, so I enjoyed it for that. So I am going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 and say it's satisfied what I was looking for a Halloween treat. It isn't necessarily a home run because that would have been closer to 4 or 5, but it's satisfactory, and I think if you in the right circumstances, this could be a fun treat if you were to rent it and watch it on your TV at home during the Halloween season or any spooky season that you want to invent. I think you would enjoy this. So there you go. Oh, yeah. Well, I can't leave without giving you my favorite scene, can I? My favorite scene is going to be when the kids are over spending the night. It's very awkward because these are the bullies, but mom doesn't know that. And, the kid has lost his phone, so communicating is becoming even harder. But they kind of they kind of grab this iPad that that's in his hand there, and let's just say Larry makes a visit, and it kind of brings these kids together. And at that point, this film really, really finds its footing, and it's also pretty scary. Or at least creepy. Some of you are hardcore, might not find it scary, but you know what I mean. It's creepy. It's getting on your skin. It's getting there. It has the atmosphere. It has the lighting. It's well directed, and the scene is constructed in a way to achieve its goal, which is what you want out of a good horror film. So there it is. That's my review for Come Play, which is coming out in theaters October 30th from Focus Pictures. If you are feeling safe and your theater has all the conditions correct, and you feel comfortable, see it. Otherwise, find a way to rent it at home. I think they are doing that nowadays really quickly. Oh man, I really want to get back into theater. I will someday soon. I hope. 2020, you suck, but Come Play does not. So there you go. Thank you for joining me. Oh, I better just stop here and, say goodnight.